High school football fans, welcome to the 17th season of Sports Roundtable here on New Hanover County Schools TV. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com, and each week the four football coaches from across New Hanover County will join me in studio with highlights and analysis moving throughout the season. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter at JoeKatz19 or log on to PortCityDaily.com each day for your latest news and recaps from the world of sports across the Wilmington area. Well, it's hard to believe we are heading into week 4 of the regular season, and our first guest tonight is Laney head coach Ashad Yeoman. I know safety is of the utmost importance for our players and coaches, but Laney was forced to play on Labor Day this week after a lightning delay forced a postponement back on Thursday. The games were moved up a day to get ahead of the tropical weather, then lightning, some 40 miles away, postponed the second half of the Bucs matchup against Lee County. The refs have control of whether the game starts back up or not, but there needs to be some type of uniformity between the refs, school officials, and training staff who typically have a lightning meter or some easy access to the technology needed to determine whether or not it's safe to play. With that said, Laney is 1-2 following a 22-0 setback against Lee County. On set now again is Laney head coach Ashad Yeoman with details on the team. Coach, I know not the way you maybe have planned the Labor Day weekend, having two halves played with 3 days difference. A tough setback against Lee County. You dropped to 1-2 overall.
Yeah, that was a tough game. You know, I give credit to Lee County. Those guys are undefeated as of now. They did a great job of mixing it up on defense and then doing enough on offense to keep us unbalanced. We were able to come back in that second half and play a lot better defensively, but we still did give up a score at the end of the game.
Defensively, I thought you've played pretty well so far this season, led by a couple of guys we'll see in the highlights in just a minute. Ryan Dabrowski, Trayvon McGee on the defensive end side, Deontay Hicks at defensive line. Pretty good front seven for you. In the middle linebacker position, Cayman Cezak, a senior for you. On the offensive side, you changed things up with a new scheme this year offensively. You got a first-year quarterback and sophomore Sherrod Sidbury behind center. So still some X's and O's to work out on the offensive end as you head into week 4 this week.
Oh, absolutely. We got a lot of work to do all around, special teams as well. But you're right, defensively we got a lot of guys returning, a lot of guys with a lot of experience, and I'm looking for them to build on what they did last year, take that next step. I'm real proud of the effort that we got going now. We still got a lot of work to do, but overall not bad.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this weekend's game against Lee County.
Yeah, we started out on defense. This is the first series here, and that was a big play by Tyler Moore, one of our senior linebackers, reading that screen. This is one of the big sets right here. That's where they were, you're going to see that a lot because they ended up scoring 2 touchdowns in the first half against us with that particular set. And there's Sherrod Sidbury, our sophomore quarterback, making a nice boot out. He can do a lot of great things when he's got the ball in his hands. We just got to make sure that he keeps it in his hands. That's one of the things we've been struggling with. And then that's Cayman Cezak, one of our fastest kids on the team. He's running that pitch down from the Mike linebacker spot. This is great coverage in the secondary, and Deontay Hicks coming up with the sack. This is a big set right here. We got a lot of pressure off the edge there. That was a good job of Deontay Hicks again, staying in his rush lane and coming up with that big play for us. Got him in a third down situation. And then once again, that was great coverage in the back end. Tyler Moore doing his job, and again, that's Deontay Hicks coming up with the sack. He's a special kid, man. We see a lot of potential in him. We've been on him pretty tough, but hopefully now he can see that we see a lot more that he can do and provide for the team. So, and then that's Amit coming up with a big first down for us. We needed that, kind of keep the drive going, keep the defense off the field, and I got the whole defense in on this just because we pride ourselves on checking in and getting to the football just in case somebody misses a tackle. And you'll see here on this particular play that a wealth of guys touch the guy. We don't quite bring him down the first time, but just to show them that, hey, when we get to the football, good things can happen. So I'm proud of the effort that we gave. But this was one of the sets that they actually scored on us twice in the first half, and that's a big play by Ryan Dabrowski, one of our senior defensive linemen. Again, we're looking for some big things from him, and that's a great penetration from Ryan Dabrowski and Tyler Moore coming up with the finish. They fumbled the ball there. That was why he was kind of a little overexcited about it, but we didn't get it at the end of it all. The ref called him down, and again, a great job by the defense overall. We still got a lot of work to do because we gave up 22 points. We stayed on the field quite often, but at the end of the day, defense wins championships, offense wins games. So we talk about it. We score more than them, we win the ball game, and if they don't score, we win. So we got to get better in all those categories. And then once again, that's Cayman Cezak coming up with a finish for us on a big play there. we watching mostly defensive highlights, but in the second half, we actually did a lot better on offense. We just couldn't finish the drives, and that's Camille Bloodworth on a big stop. Looking for big things from him this season. Again, still got a lot of work to do overall. That's a connection between Sherrod Sidbury and Jason Billingsley.
Sherrod Sidbury looks like he could be a heck of an athlete for you. Only a sophomore, and I know the read game is crucial in the offense. But I think as he progresses in this offense, so will the team when it comes to wins, and that's where you want to be. 1-2 right now. You're going to have another home game this upcoming Friday. So quickly, just talk a little bit about what you see from Northern Nash.
Much more improved than they were last year. We're looking for a big game from them. Those guys like to pound the rock, a lot like what we saw against the team that we just played. So defensively, we got to be able to stop the run, and again, offensively, we got to be able to block those guys up front, because the game again is won in the trenches. So if we can shore up the defensive line, shore up the offensive line, we should see some good things.
Laney head coach Ashad Yeoman here on Sports Roundtable. Coach, thanks for stopping by. First guest of the new season,
Yes,
and look
sir.
forward to catching up with you throughout the year.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our first time out here on Sports Roundtable. We'll catch up with New Hanover head football coach Earl Smith right after this quick break. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Roundtable as we continue our weekly look at high school football across New Hanover County. The New Hanover Wildcats have had probably the toughest non-conference slate so far this season around the area. It won't get easier for the Black and Orange, coming off a bye week this Friday when the Cats head to Laurinburg for a date with Scotland County. New Hanover is at 1-2 after setbacks in Myrtle Beach and against 2015 3A state runner-up Havelock. Coach Earl Smith is joining us here on set right now. And Coach, 1-2, obviously you would like to be 3-0 where you stand at anytime you play 3 games in a season. But new quarterbacks, a couple new pieces on the offensive line, new secondary. So some big pieces to the puzzle that you need to fill. How would you assess maybe the first 3 weeks of the season?
Well, we're getting better. Like Friday night, we had a turnover ratio of we threw three interceptions and we got one, so we got to cut that out. Crucial drives where we drive down in the red zone and not score. And then I can't say enough about our defense Friday night. We had 3, got them in the red zone. We were backed up 3 times and stopped them on 4th and 5. And going into the second quarter, still 0-0, but we threw an interception that broke our back in near the half and just couldn't recover from it. Defense just. I think they're getting better every week. The O-line's getting a little better. It's just we've got to cut out those mistakes.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights from all 3 weeks of this season, including a win over Hoke County, along with the 2 setbacks against Myrtle Beach and Havelock last week.
Yeah, we got here's a nice breakup by outside linebacker Troy McCaskill, who's a junior. We get a nice poster out here with from Francis Meehan to Malcolm Hill. Good catch. Come back with an inside trap play to senior Keegan Santos, who's been playing very, very consistent.
Yeah, senior running back is actually a commit to play lacrosse at Hofstra.
Right. Again, this is the first drive. It's a 0-0. And again, we stalled out. Solo tackle here by junior inside backer Grant Daly. He had a heck of a game, along with Nas Brown.
Guy who's coming back from a season-ending injury in the 4A East Regional, broke his leg.
Yep. And here's a nice tackle by outside linebacker Jahan Simmons. Again, he moved from wide receiver in the playoffs last year, improving every week.
Great kid that I was able to catch up with the start of the season.
Here, just a good job up front, gang tackling. And, we're pretty solid inside, but our defensive ends are young, but getting better every day too.
Yeah, we've got some good pieces on the defensive side back this year.
Yep. The our kickoff returns have been good. Wiz will show one later against Myrtle Beach. Returns one here. He gets it back, gets us in pretty decent field position. He's the type of athlete, can score when he gets his hands on the ball.
I believe he's got 4 or 5 touchdowns already this season, Wiz Vaughn.
6, I believe.
6 touchdowns.
Again, we moved the ball throwing it, just inconsistent. Here Francis hits tight end senior Jairee Taylor. film breaking up a little bit, but gets it there. Nice concentration, good yardage after.
That's one of those new quarterbacks we talked with about, Francis Meehan. Starting to get comfortable under center for you?
Yeah, he just he forced 3 turnovers, and we got to cut that out. Here's a good run for our score right before the half. We cut it 14-7 here, got back in the ball game. Get a nice kick here, extra point. We get some areas up the middle we got to work on, some people coming through, but sophomore Wesley Gaines keeps his head down, knocks it through. Here we got a good swing pass from Meehan to senior other fullback Javion Hall. Got to get him to keep running, try to cut back, try to get that first down.
A lot of skill guys back from last year's squad that are
Yes.
helping contribute on the offensive side.
Absolutely. Here's a nice play by our defensive end, Chris Taylor. He was on JV last year. He's getting better every week. Here's a broken play with Francis and Wiz. Gets flushed out, drops it off to him. Good vision. Again, this is against Myrtle Beach the week before.
Great job by Francis there to avoid some trouble in the backfield, presence in the pocket.
Here's a 93-yard touchdown kickoff return by Wiz. If you can watch closely, watch this move right here at the end. He keeps accelerating and fights and gets in the end zone.
That's a long way to go for Wisdom. Yeah, that's, we talk about Wiz Vaughn and his athletic ability, and, obviously 1 and 2 is not where you want to be. I'm sure that you're working on some things, to get ready for a tough matchup at Scotland County with this bye week.
Absolutely. We'll practice today, tomorrow, Thursday, and focus on fundamentals. And again, most of everything we're doing wrong can be corrected.
Well, that's a good thing to say, despite the record right now. As long as you can fasten up some of these things as you get ready for conference play, you got to be thinking that you can make a similar run maybe to where you were last year. Still a long way to go till we get to that.
Yeah.
But New Hanover Wildcats will have the off week, and then they'll head to Laurinburg for a date with Scotland County. Coach Earl Smith, thanks for stopping by, Coach, and
Appreciate it.
Good luck on this bye week to get everything sorted out.
Thank you, Joe.
That's the New Hanover football coach, Earl Smith, here on Sports Roundtable. We'll take another timeout. We're at the half. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. Up next, the head coach of the Hoggard Vikings, Craig Underwood. High school football fans, welcome back to Sports Roundtable. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. Continuing our conversation this evening with the 4 football coaches from across New Hanover County. We'll head to Shipyard Boulevard here in our third quarter of action. Hoggard has rushed for nearly 200 yards per game. Tony Allen and Rashad Wallace have provided the Vikes with another good 1-2 punch in the backfield. Hoggard looking to get back to the 500 mark on Friday night. The Vikings are 1 and 2 overall, following a 28-26 setback against Pine Forest last week. Hoggard will play at home here in week 3. With me now is the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Craig Underwood. And Coach, we talked a little bit off air on, the progression of the team so far this season, some things that we want to secure up as we head into week 4 of the season. But you say many of the things that, we're missing on are very correctable here early on.
Yeah, I echo. I heard Coach Smith say the same thing earlier, and that's the great thing about this time of year is a lot of times the mistakes that you see on film, especially when it's self-inflicted, while that drives you crazy, the positive is when you get to practice Monday, you can go straight to working on fixing it, and that's what we're doing.
With the exception maybe of that first game where the team, weren't themselves right off the bus. The last 2 games, one you get a win, another one, late in the ball game, you're in it close. So that's another good thing that you could take from you, that you haven't been, wiped out yet. As far as a blowout or anything, you've been in every football game, even though you came out on the wrong end here at 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, we purposely tried to get some pretty tough opponents on the schedule early. We tried to get some road trips on the schedule early to prepare for the future moving forward, and I think we're on the right track. Thursday night in Pine Forest was frustrating because you do feel like you let one get away, but again, things that we can build on.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights. As I mentioned, Rashad Wallace, Tony Allen, 2 great senior running backs for you, led by a good offensive front. Josh Jones back at quarterback for you, junior. Why don't you take us through this set, Coach?
All right, this is against 71st 2 weeks ago. They had a great power run game. something we had struggled with against Holly Springs. But there you saw Lana Romano and Christian Holler, Cullum Crowley all stepping up and getting a big stop there. That was an interception. Ball was knocked loose by a great young corner. We're seeing Isaiah Kemp, and then intercepted by Christian Holler. So coach set us up with several defensive highlights here to start, but that was Tony Allen punching it in. This is Reese Moulton. A lot of new names on our defense this year, but Reese is working at safety for us, has done a great job. Came up and made a big play there. A little end around jet sweep, something we struggled with the week before, and we bounced back. Not only did we set the edge and force a tackle, but also force a fumble there. So again, good work. Our defense really came out on fire against 71st. I was glad to see that. It's Lana Romano getting a big hand up there and knocking the football down. Here see Josh connecting with, I believe this was Colin Hare, senior captain. Had a great start to the season. He just got knocked down with injury this past week, big blow to us, but just hoping he'll get better as soon as he can. Again, seeing good inside fill. It's Mackenzie Frazier, Christian Holler. These guys doing a great job. Daniel Eason's another one. That's Romano again. Romano moved to defensive end for us this year. Has done great work. Little bootleg right here. All right, Big Patrick Morrison, our tight end. A lot of people look at him and say offensive lineman, but he moves pretty well. His hands are incredible. Does a good job blocking in space. So Pat's a great leader for us. Here again, hitting on the bootleg. So, Josh really developing and throwing. That was one of the best quarterback games statistically we've had in several years at Hoggard, that game against 71st. So Josh doing a good job. Here's senior Chet Raddick. Chet's really come along at wideout. He's going to need to step up even more now with Colin being out. But he's done a good job. He's one of our leading receivers. Here you see this little smash route against Pine Forest. Big third down play. Josh rolls out, escapes the tackler. Colin makes a great catch here on the sideline. Unfortunately, does come down, just comes down awkward and gets himself dinged there. So he's out for a little bit, but hopefully we get him back soon. Again, not hiding what we're doing here, getting a little heavy personnel down at the goal line. All right, we're going to pound it and we're going to boot it. So, nice bootleg touchdown there.
On the offensive end, obviously, so much is predicated around what the run game can do. You see several play action passes right there, and that's how you set it up. And offensively, I think you're moving along quite nicely. But like you said, on the defensive side of the ball, you got some new guys on the team this year, pretty much an entire new front seven for the most part. So, still a work in progress, but a good chance here to get back to 2-2 this week at home.
Certainly. We're excited. Carolina Forest coming to town. Again, we feel like we've really focused on the mistakes that we've self-inflicted, and hopefully we'll see Friday night, improved tackling, improved angles, all those things on the defensive side. And then offensively, the biggest thing is finishing drives. We've had a couple drives in the red zone that stalled on us, so finishing and coming away with points every time.
I think the offensive front has done a good job.
I'll tell you what, Labib Ishmael and Alex Alkias, those two guys, they get a great push for us. And, Pat and then our H-backs involved. The right side of the line is new, but they're coming along too. So very pleased with us up front.
Head coach of the Hoggard Vikings, Craig Underwood, now in his second season as head coach along Shipyard Boulevard. Coach, good catching up with you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good.
I'll take our final timeout. We'll get to our final guest of the evening, Coach Jeff Turner of the Ashley Screaming Eagles. He's coming up next. High school football fans, welcome back to Sports Roundtable. Heading down the stretch, we'll go out to Monkey Junction for our final segment tonight. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. For the first time since 2003, the Ashley Screaming Eagles have started a high school football season with a 2-0 record. Running back Bradley Plyer has 6 total touchdowns. Ashley will head out into their first road game in a couple of weeks. They'll have a bye week this week and then travel to Westover, looking to improve to 3-0. Still a long way to go, but a great start for the Screaming Eagles at 2-0. And we have head coach Jeff Turner with us now to give us a lowdown on the Screaming Eagles. And coach, you couldn't ask for better than where you are right now. 2 wins and no losses to start the season.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good right now with a lot to improve on. You get in and it's only 2 games, but at the same time, it's 2 good games for the Eagles because it's really helped our kids. But we have, the great thing is watching what we've gotten from the last 2 games. There's so much that we can improve on, and and coming out successful with that really makes it that much more better. That hey, we won, but we can improve on it, and look what we did. So that's sort of where we're at right now.
Got a new quarterback behind center in senior Jacob Reed. Bradley Plyer, who I mentioned, continues to give you those hard-nosed runs, but also adding to that some skill players. Freddie Thames is a guy that can move the football, get to the outside. Corey Whaley, another new guy who can stretch the field for you in the passing game. So really the pieces offensively are there for you. You're going to progress each week. Obviously, you get a couple of days here to practice before you get out in your 3rd game against Westover, so still a little ways to go. But with that said, you're really happy with where you're at.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of, Freddie Thames and Sean Ross and Corey Whaley, and then, Caleb Parker will be getting healthy again. He hasn't played this year yet, so that, gives us another added athlete on the field, and so that really helps us, and they've worked hard all summer, so hopefully we can distribute the ball and get everyone touches on that, and, they're unselfish. They block for each other, and they do a good job, so that's the kind of thing we have to keep doing.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Ashley 2-0 start. The Screaming Eagles heading into a bye week this week.
Yeah, this is defense. They played a great game. 4 turnovers against a very talented team. Forced turnover, D-line's giving pressure, and I believe that's Isaiah Fields comes up with a big one. Fairmont had Division I athletes out there. I've played them all, whether it's a 1A, 4A. I'm going to tell you, those athletes are some of the best that I've seen. That was Kendrell Peterson picking off another ball. Defensively, just sort of did what we had to do with the 24-hour notice. Right here, Jacob Reed hands off to Bradley Plyler, and he just bowls through. Good job, offensive line. Still a lot of things we need to correct, but they're playing hard, and we will correct those. Another one to Bradley Plyler going in from the 3-yard line, with Greg Brown leading the way. Another defensive stop here. This is Joe Barbera, and Joe is just so hard right there. He's a tough kid. He's strong. He's worked very hard. He's very difficult to block. I think this is another push by Joe Barbera that gets a sack, and that's Joe right there causing a fumble. And he's a great kid. He's a junior. We look forward to each game him getting better. Right here, Bradley Plyler again, offensive line surge going through the middle, and it's simple when you're pushing and getting to the next level. And this is Bradley again.
That's a big old hole he can run through
there.
there.
Yeah, big hole. Started tiring him out right here. This right here is a throw to also Bradley over the top of the linebacker. So he gets a lot of running room.
That was just
right
a little
there.
flick there from your quarterback, Jacob.
Yeah,
he's got a good arm.
He does. And again, it's something that was working, and Bradley just hits it hard. We created enough daylight that he can find that. Right here, just sort of same thing, hitting it right up the gut. Doing a good job. Freddie Thames right here does a great job of seeing daylight and outruns the cornerback, getting into the end zone. Freddie's done a great job. He's only a junior. He's worked extremely hard. But, I watched the film over the weekend, and there's Bradley again, and it's great to see the success, but at the same time realize that you can build off that, and there's so much more we can improve on. So we, as coaches, have to really teach and do a good job on this off week to get us better. And I think that's so important, that we keep getting better, and I don't think we know how good we can be right yet.
Well, I think, too, also having the guys starting to believe that, this hard work and the camaraderie that you built during the offseason is starting to pay off in the win column. Mm-hmm. When you're able to do that, then they're willing to accept some of the things that you're trying to teach as the season progresses.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and it's really great to see, because that's sort of the name of the game, and what we're doing with these kids and players and young men, that they're learning that with hard work and hopefully, a lot of hard work, that success will be the what'll be there for them. And they've done a great job, and I just hope we can continue it. We look forward to it. We look forward to the challenge going to Fayetteville.
Ashley is 2-0 to start the regular season. First time since 2003 that Ashley Screaming Eagles have won 2 games to start the year. That'll do it for our first edition of Sports Roundtable this season. Join us next week for another look at high school football across New Hanover County. For everyone here at New Hanover County Schools TV, I'm Joe Katz. Until next time.